Hello everyone. You've always seen me create animal logo marks, foxes, bears, eagles, and more. Different styles, different ideas, but they all follow the same principles: clean geometry, solid structure, and shapes that hold up at any size. Today, I'm taking on a tiger. I'll walk you through the full process of building it from scratch, and along the way, I'll show you the three main methods I use for vector building, the same ones I rely on for every solid mark in my portfolio. The first thing I'm looking for is some strong tiger imagery and, of course, a few existing logos for inspiration. I usually scroll through Pinterest, and whenever I find something interesting, I drop it right into my mood board. Here's the collection I pulled together, a mix of photos and references that I'll use to spark ideas. The key here is inspiration, not copying. I want to make something original, not something that feels like it's already been done. Now normally, I'd trace my sketches in Illustrator, paste the photo in, drop a dark rectangle over it, lower the opacity, lock it, and then trace on top with the brush tool set to white stroke and no fill. That's the usual way. But in this video, I wanted to show you the traditional method, sketching by hand with a pencil. It always gives me more control, and honestly, it feels a lot more natural. The tools I'll be using for this process are pretty simple: an eraser, a few pencils, and of course, plenty of tracing paper. I start by bringing up the chosen reference photo on my phone. To make sure the image is clear enough, I increase the brightness a little, then lock the screen so I don't accidentally move it while working. Once that's set, I place the phone down and position a sheet of tracing paper right over it. Before I begin, I like to add a couple of small alignment marks on the paper. That way, if the paper shifts, I can easily reposition it and keep everything accurate. Now comes the most important part: tracing the tiger's main features. Since this design will be symmetrical, I only need to trace half of the tiger's face. While I trace, I'm not just following lines blindly. I'm breaking down the details into clean, simple shapes. The complex patterns of the tiger's face get translated into geometric forms: circles, triangles, and straight lines, making the design easier to work with. Once the main features are traced, I move to a second sheet of tracing paper and place it over the first. Here, I start refining the design, drawing with fewer details and focusing on creating stronger geometric shapes, straighter lines, and smoother curves. Then, in the third round, it's all about cleanup. I take my eraser, sharpen up the lines, redraw certain shapes to make them more precise, and adjust anything that needs to be modified. Step by step, the rough tracing evolves into a clean, solid logo mark. Now that the sketch is ready, I'm going to start vectorizing it in Adobe Illustrator. After that, I'll move into Kittl to take it further, adding typography, texture, and turning it into a complete design. And speaking of Kittl, I want to thank them for sponsoring this video. Kittl is an all-in-one design platform where you can create logos, add textures and typography, and even make mockups without switching between tools. What I really like is how simple and visual everything feels. It just makes the whole design process flow naturally. I'll show you exactly how I use it later in the video. Once I'm in Adobe Illustrator, I paste the sketch onto the canvas. I drop the opacity down a bit and then lock it in place so it just sits nicely in the background. Now, to vectorize this design, I'm going to use three different methods of vector building. Let's start simple, tracing with the pen tool. For the straight lines, I start simply by snapping from point to point, and for the curves, I click, then drag and rotate the handle to control the line, and I continue doing this for the more complex shapes. Method 2, using circles and the shape builder. This is the best method to get perfect curves. I start by making a big circle, then I align it with the sketch. After that, I hold Alt, drag it, and align it with this curve. Then I go to Pathfinder and click on Intersect. Next, I make another circle and align it with this curve. Then add a straight line here. I select them all, and with the Shape Builder tool, I drag inside to form the shape. Then I hold Alt and click to delete the extra parts. To make these gaps, I create a circle, then Alt drag it here and do a minus front. I hold Alt and drag the shape here again, then rotate it to meet the sketch. I group them together, then select them with the shape below, and from the Pathfinder, I click on minus front. Method 3. Using basic shapes. Simply, I make a vertical rectangle here, then with the Direct Selection tool, I drag this point here and pull the corner widget to round it off. Then I select this point and drag it down a little to align this segment with the sketch. Finally, I use all three methods to trace the rest of the sketch. Once it's done, I drag it over. I swap the fill and stroke. Hold Alt and duplicate it to the right. Then go to Object, Transform, and then Reflect and press OK. Select everything and hit Unite. Technically, we could stop here, but to make it look extra smooth, I grab the Direct Selection tool, select all the sharp corners, and just nudge the widget slightly, rounding them out for that polished look. Once the design is ready, I save it by going to File, Export, then Save for Web. I check transparency, turn off Clip to Artboard, hit Save, give it a name, and the logo is exported. With the structure ready, I'll take it into Kittl to work on the design details, typography, texture, and presentation. What's cool is that Kittl can handle the whole process from start to finish too. I might actually do a full tutorial soon, showing how to design an entire logo directly inside Kittl. So, I open a new project, create a black artboard, and upload the logo file. I place it in position, then head to the text panel. When I click Show All, I get all these amazing ready-made lockups. I grab this vintage one, change the color to white, right-click and ungroup it, and I do that twice. Now I can move pieces around. This element goes here, this one slides to the left. I remove this monogram. I drop the date down at the bottom, scale it up just a little, and center everything perfectly. I double-click on the type and I change it to Tigers. Next, I'll add some graphic elements. Kittl's pen tool is actually really powerful for this. I draw out a thunderbolt icon, remove the border, fill it with white, duplicate it, flip it horizontally, and then group them together and all aligned to the center. Now let's bring it to life with some texture. I go here, I select this group and I choose this one. And because our design is white, I will change the blend mode to multiply. Instant vintage feel. And here's my favorite part about Kittl, mockups. With just one click on the canvas, I go to mockup, and instantly my design is placed into tons of real-world use cases. It literally takes seconds, and it looks professional right out of the box. If you want to try it yourself, Kittl is free to start. You'll find my link in the description, and if you upgrade, my code ASHRAFYT gets you 25% off. One last thing I like to do is make an inverted version for light backgrounds. Now, it does work as it is, but something always feels a little off, and that's because the details that are supposed to stay dark end up flipping to white. So here's the fix. I select the logo, go to Object, Path, Offset Path. I set the value to 22, hit OK, and then head over to Pathfinder and click Unite. Next, I cut it with Ctrl+X, select the logo itself, change its color to white, and then press Ctrl+B to paste the offset shape behind it. And that's it. Now you've got this sticker-like logo that looks clean and professional on literally any background you put it on. And that wraps up today's video. I really hope you picked up something useful along the way. Let me know in the comments what part you liked most and what you think could have been better. I always read your feedback, and it really helps me improve future videos. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next logo design breakdown. There's a lot more coming.